And we're live in 3, 2, 1.
Wow, we're really doing this.
We're back, and it's a little bit different this time. Let's first off start it off with opening a cold brewski. Yep.
I didn't see you even got that one.
I've been waiting this whole time to open this up for this, because last time I didn't get the nice crisp sound that I wanted.
Okay.
So now I got it, and I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, I'm glad you did.
I'm really happy about it. I
That's
hope
all about.
it is. It is getting that good crisp sound for the viewer. So the viewers, or now listeners,
Yeah.
I'm seeing
They're
something.
going nuts.
They're crazy.
We had to dial it back a little bit.
We had to stop the video because they were like, "Take off your shirts," and we're like, "Oh no!" So we are like, "Yeah,
That happens to me in public too.
yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So,
It would happen.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
gotta be careful who I show myself to.
well,
Yeah.
but after popular demand, we found out that our audio had been quitting at like the same spot for like 2 minutes straight, and it was because we're running everything on the same laptop. Audio,
Super high quality laptop too.
mm-hmm. You
He's
know
put
it is.
a lot of work into it. You can tell by
All the
about
stickers.
40 stickers on the back.
It's been through a lot. College, life, not even my college too. It's used. So
Wow.
somebody
So-
else's college probably too.
It's
So
experienced.
mm-hmm.
good.
It knows how to get the job done.
Did you put all the stickers on there? Or was
I
those
did.
for other people?
Before it had some really girly stickers on it, and I'm like,
Whoa.
no way. I gotta. So I took it off with the old elbow grease.
Where do you even get stickers nowadays? Do you just
I just went on
Pick 'em up
Amazon. I literally went on Amazon and just put stickers. And there's like this big sticker thing, like for like 100. You can get like 100 of them for like $5.
sure?
So
Just
like
random
even
ones.
like on my guitar case, I just slapped them on. Like for my son,
Yeah.
that's what I just told him, hey, go crazy.
Okay.
And then he went crazy. And I didn't really like the placement though. He wasn't really good at placing them because
On
he
your
putting them
Keys.
right on top of each other. It's kind of difficult to try to get the placement right
Sure.
on
Did
stickers.
you do your laptop?
No, I
No.
didn't.
Well, I was gonna
He
say on
kinda-
your laptop it
well-
looks about that bad. So
Well, my son's a big Spider-Man fan, so he put this Spider-Man right here. So,
well, should we talk football maybe?
yeah, I suppose that's
Talk a
what
little
we're
bit
doing.
about,
That's what the viewers want.
Yep.
Give us the big insight. No.
So,
Well, we're 1 for 1 for predictions. Let's just get that out of the way.
what do we? Oh,
That they were gonna lose.
Oh, okay.
and
Can we get it out of the way that I think they're gonna lose the rest of the way, like every game?
I don't think
They're gonna lose
that,
against
but
the Texans. They're gonna lose against Green Bay and Seattle and the Bears and probably we might beat the Lions just because the Lions are they try to.
I
lose
think
sometimes,
Adrian
I think.
Peterson might be on our side this time, and he is like, I gotta make it up to the fan base, or either that, or a lot of the guys will be like, we can't let them win, and do that whole shebang.
So Vikings played the Titans, the Tennessee coronavirus
Oh boy, big news.
Titans.
Okay,
Um,
what? Yeah, you want to go first thoughts on that?
yeah, I
give
guess
me
we
your
can
first
kinda
thoughts.
Recap that game a little bit.
What were your
Um,
first thoughts?
First of all, no problem here that we lost. No problem at all with that. I'm actually I've been listening to a lot of radio and things like that. It's like obviously it's other people's jobs to like keep
critique.
people excited. Like they're tied in with the Vikings organization, so they're trying to figure out ways like how can we turn it around? What's our next steps?
Well, it's their job.
And like I just like I have no motivation to pursue analyzing what the Vikings need to change. Like how are we going to make this season better? I don't care if we make this season better or not. Again, first 2 weeks, like
You want that choice.
I hit the lowest of the low. So this third week, when we lost, even after what I learned. Well, actually, I'll get to that in my football facts. I'm excited about my facts.
You did really work hard on that.
I worked really hard on my facts.
He does. Just for you, the viewers.
Even after we were like maybe looking like we were ahead and then lost, totally literally couldn't. I would have felt the exact same either way.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm probably a little more positive with the loss. Again, I just think this season's gone. And I'd like to get a good draft pick and, reassess things after COVID is over with. Because I feel like we just haven't adapted well to whatever this new environment is.
Right.
We haven't prepared well. We look like we're still into the preseason, basically.
Right. Well, we got a lot of,
Speaking of the preseason, Justin Jefferson. That's the positive that I got. I could care less the outcome of the game. Positive. I like seeing the positives of rookies. So that's really right now. This is what I want to see for the rest of the season is just like good performances from the rookies, because
that's our future.
And one part of the frustration for me with the Vikings has been we're not getting production like high performances from rookies. Like all these other teams. Well, okay. I say that knowing, obviously, that Justin Jefferson is going to be a star. He's really good. So, yes, he's showing promise. But Jeff Gladney, Cam Dantzler, Ezra Cleveland, they're not, popping off the page to you like, oh, these guys are super good. And they're actually, kind of big hole. Obviously, shortened off season. They haven't gotten... But, it'd be nice even, who was our first round pick, or who were some picks that stood out to you from our 2019 draft class? Can you name one?
I don't think so. I mean, don't we have a linebacker? No, did we draft a linebacker? No, I don't think so.
Our 20
because our linebackers really had to step up with Anthony Barr being out. And was he a 2019 draft pick? Because
we had Cameron Smith is the guy I think you might be thinking of that got have heart surgery or whatever. Okay, so first round pick in 2019 was Garrett Bradbury. Hasn't been the worst. Seems to actually have issues with ball control, like fumbling, the connection between him and Cousins has caused issues.
Yeah.
Next was Irv Smith, who is supposed to be this steal in the second round. He hasn't. I don't know if he's even caught a pass this year yet. Alexander Madison was our third round pick.
That's a good pick. I would say
I think he's going to be solid, but behind Cook, he's not really
he's not gonna
adding much to our team. Yeah,
he's not going to show the star.
But he's not going to come out.
But it's hard to be behind one of the best running backs in the league. You're going to learn a lot right off the bat. But he's a change of pace back right now.
We had two fourth-round picks, Drew Samia, and then Cameron Smith. Cameron Smith obviously out. I think he could potentially be good someday. Drew Samia, worst guard in football. He was supposed to be another guy that was and we moved up to pick him up. And he was supposed to be, super good, whatever.
Yeah.
So I haven't gotten production really out of many of these guys this year so far. Again, Garrett Bradbury, the reason we lost the Titans game. Well, I shouldn't say the reason we lost the Titans game because, obviously the game was, I don't think we would have scored on that drive anyways, but that botched snap, he threw the ball at Cousins before he was ready and knew it, turned right around and recovered it.
Right.
We had Armon Watts, Marcus Epps from last year, Oli Udo, Chris Boyd, Dylan Mitchell. We had Olabisi Johnson in the 7th round, who has been kind of terrible, or hasn't really, he's not going to be a starter in this league. And then they had their long snapper, who I guess may be the highlight of that entire draft class. because we've had a really good long snapper. So that's the feather in our cap.
Yeah.
Anyway, how do you feel about the game?
I was encouraged.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look throughout the probability of when we held that pretty much through the entire, I mean, statistically pretty much through the entire time, except for like maybe the last quarter, I would say. But I mean, that last half was the worst. The first half was really good. I felt really good about it, and I was like, "Oh, we got like a 10-point lead, and we're gonna do fantastic. This is great. We could win this." And the Tennessee Titans, I don't think are as good as they are with 3-0. I don't think they should. I don't think they'll.
Tannehill looks really good. I think they don't really have a true good depth on their receiving core. I think
Well,
that's a big issue for them.
They're AJ Brown, who is there. He was out.
Yeah.
So right now,
had he been in, we would have gotten slaughtered.
Oh, for sure. I mean, our secondary just wasn't. That's the thing. I think we need to work on through. Like you said, I think this season, just throw it out. We're not going to worry about it. But also realize that because we got rid of a lot of our veteran guys that really were in our secondary, that were our rock and stone, and then we just kind of threw them out in the preseason. I mean, the postseason.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of a thing where I'm like, now somebody's got to step up and be that. Of course, with injuries now, you got so many guys on our defense now on injuries that are kind of the veteran guys that aren't. It's going to be hard now.
Let me ask you this. What would you define as a successful season at this point for the Vikings?
Internally, I don't think it's anything that we can see. I think it's going to be something for the coaching staff and the whole program to see where do we really need the help and figuring out who to draft because
So you don't think that they've got the guys in-house right now to do it?
I think they got the majority. I think they just really need just to realize the kind of men that they need on their team to just be leaders. Because I think that's really what we're having is the lack of leadership.
Oh, for sure.
On this
I
field.
I think that's understated, is that we don't have anyone that's really driving. Because, and we've pointed this out in weeks past, is your team is lacking motivation. Like, we're just not fired up. Doesn't seem like we're really have rallied together as a unit.
Yep.
And aren't approaching the game with the same energy that we have in the past.
Right, and that's where I'm thinking that's where we either need to pick up a guy, just his contract's coming to an end on a different team that has shown leadership. I don't know who that's going to be, but I think that has to happen, or find a really good draft pick, and that's gonna be a first round pick, and that's really. When you're drafting a first-round pick, it's not necessarily how good the kid is, but how good of a leader he's going to be on the field and for the team. I think that's probably, give or take, kind of more important in drafting somebody because that leadership also will drive the morale of the team and get everybody the drive to be better.
You're not going to be able to draft a leader. That guy's
yeah.
Yeah, unless you got a quarterback like Joe Burrow that comes in and he's in charge of that offense.
Right, and that's what you really need, and that's true.
That's pretty rare that you get a guy that steps in to do that. Maybe
it's
you're
very hard to find.
A lot of that, but
it's just hard to find those people to be that because nobody really wants to step up and be the leader. But when you find that person, you want to hold on to that guy for as long as you can. And so that's what I think that during this whole process they really need to figure out. Not necessarily finding better guys, but talent-wise.
Yeah.
but finding guys that will lead the team.
Finding
I
guys
mean,
that'll
the
bring out
coaching
talent
staff,
for the rest
the
of the
coaching
team.
staff can only do so much. I mean, there's only so much because the people there is a difference between the coaching staff and the players. Players are going to respect the coaching staff, obviously, but then when you got players who are going to motivate you and really don't give a crap about you, where the coaching staff kind of has to give a crap about you to make you better. So it's kind of a give or take. I think you need both to have a great team.
Yeah. I don't know. I think our coaching. I blame our coaching for a lot.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because I don't think that they have instilled the correct mentality into our team so far this season, and I think that they are not seeing talent that might still be there. And I think we're seeing that, and we'll talk about some of the success that players that have left the Vikings are having. That I think that we maybe missed out on. That maybe
I would
we got to
agree.
start looking at, hey, maybe we're not the best at evaluating whether a guy still has it or doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we've got maybe that's a symptom that there's a bigger issue going on than just we're not having the right players.
So then, would you say Mike Zimmer, is this a possibility for getting a new head coach? I mean, I know it's just one season, and he's but what are you thinking?
I was excited about this season. It was kind of going to be like the old guys team, like with Gary Kubiak and Mike Zimmer. Just these cranky old guys. I just imagine them sitting on the front porch in their rocking chairs talking about football. And they don't play like they used to. And,
they don't make those helmets like they used to.
But I feel like the NFL has kind of moved on from their style of play and has, to their detriment. Like they've kind of been figured out.
Yeah.
Like they're not as creative anymore, I think, with how they're running things. I feel like when I'm watching the Vikings, and I don't watch it super in depth, but it's like I'm watching the defense and it's like I'm not seeing anything super creative or out of the box. Same with our offense. I don't think we've tried any kind of like trick. Like we're very fundamentalists. I mean, very conservative, I would say, in our offensive approach. We don't want to try anything unique.
Yeah.
So we try things that people know and have seen and have a good established way to stop it.
Yeah, but that's so like Coach Zimmer was saying that the reason why it's kind of like that is because they're making up for a lot of the limited abilities that a lot of the players have. But as soon as he changes one aspect of the coverage or something like that, it shows another weakness in the team. Yeah. So it's kind of going in like that where they are changing it and making a simplistic defense pretty much right now. It's not as it wasn't as before where it was the complex.
Can you find the word simplicit?
Simplicit, just a simple. It's
a combination of simple and implicit.
Maybe.
Okay.
I'm just making words up as I go, Riley.
That's one thing you can do.
Makes
for a good podcast.
I think you can make words up here, and I'm a true American, so I can do whatever I want.
That's stuperific, I think.
That works. I get it. I understand it.
It's both terrific and
super. So it works out. And I understand it.
You probably thought I was going to say stupendous.
No. But yeah,
okay,
so
let me keep us moving forward here, because we're gonna. I want to get to start thinking about your favorite player, least favorite player.
Right.
What do you call that segment again?
First and last.
So from the Vikings and Titans game, who's your first and last favorite players? Some facts about the games the Vikings have played so far. Okay. One thing I didn't realize is against the Titans here, that was the Vikings' biggest blown lead.
Right.
Since 2012. We were up 10, I think. 10-0, or maybe it was.
We broke some records though.
Yeah, well, we're record breakers. That's pretty
That's
good.
all
Just
we're
like
about.
the Twins.
Mm-hmm.
Twins are.
That's what Minnesota's
they're
all
driving
about.
that postseason loss record.
Through
grave,
the
I
roof.
think. So number 1, biggest blown lead since 2012. That's 8 seasons. Biggest blown lead at home, I should say. Let me clarify. Biggest blown lead at home. We haven't blown a lead that big at home since 2012. So that's the biggest blown lead of the Mike Zimmer era by far.
Yep.
Second fact number 2. According to the last 8 years, teams that start 0-3 have less than a 5% chance of making the playoffs. Fact number 3. Kirk Cousins has thrown 6 interceptions this year, higher than any other quarterback. He's ranked 28th among NFL quarterbacks right now.
Yeah.
Fact number 4. Our cornerbacks suck.
Really?
Fact number 5. Adam Thielen is catching 57% of his targets so far.
Well, I wouldn't blame it on Adam Thielen though. I would put that on Kirk Cousins.
Part of it is, I put that more on our coaching staff than on Thielen.
How could you explain?
Well, I think okay.
I think they want to give it to the ball.
I blame our coaching staff for not putting Justin Jefferson in earlier. For whatever reason, we decided he wasn't ready, and we wanted Olabisi and Chad Beebe and
the veterans
and Tajay Sharp to be our guys right away, and we wanted to wean, or I don't know what the right word is there. We wanted to slowly bring Justin. I was like, we should have just thrown him in
with the Wolves
from the start.
I would agree.
I think that
just get him going.
The lack of talent from the other receivers has forced Cousins to target Thielen. The lack of other threats has allowed teams to bracket him. He has. That's where he's had trouble getting open. Anyways, fact number 6 now.
Yep.
Dalvin Cook, in the midst of all of this, just ran for the best game of his career.
Of his life so far.
181. I think he had a better game at Florida State.
Probably, but I guess in the NFL.
He 181 rushing yards, averaging 8 yards per carry. 8 yards a carry.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
It's like a first down, almost a first down every time.
Almost. All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to it, Regan. Favorite player.
Okay. So we just gonna do just the favorite first?
Just
I would.
Whatever
Okay.
you want.
I'm just gonna. I would say he's always been my favorite, kind of the Minnesota Vikings. I don't know why, but I'm gonna go with Kyle Rudolph. He has always been my favorite. The catch he made.
That's
for
a historic catch.
I mean, if you slow it down, first off, you got the one-handed grab, which was crazy, and then on top of that, and he is like inches away from being out of bounds.
Yeah.
The toe tap was insane.
The awareness of the boundary was
I mean, it's almost as I thought it was almost as spectacular. I mean, as Odell's one-handed grab.
Oh, absolutely. I think so too.
I thought that
that's more impressive because Odell had, I think that was like a 30-yard pass to Odell, 30, 40 yards.
Well, he didn't have
a bunch of time to track it.
Right. But
Rudolph had a laser, so
he's got a
second or two to reach back and position again. Position is like you
then
said,
then he's got to think, oh, I got this ball, and then at the same time thinking of got to catch this ball. Pokemon,
great reference. Yeah, let's talk about Pokemon.
After he catches the ball, then he's thinking at the same time, toe tap. I got to get my feet in.
Mm-hmm.
and it was just it was spectacular. It was like, holy crap! But the other thing is, like, the spectators, they weren't thinking it. I mean, they thought it was a big deal, but I don't think they just, like, they were just like, yeah, it's a great catch. But it's just like
it's a
like,
mind blowing.
It was a mind blowing. Like, the people, when they saw Odell Beckham's catch, they're like mind blown.
Yeah.
This thing is the one and only. Like, Odell Beckham will never live that down and will never live up to it ever again, probably.
Here's I think the difference is Odell Beckham made it look hard. Kyle Rudolph made it look easy.
Yeah, that's true.
Odell Beckham's like, oh my gosh, I could never do that. And granted, yeah, Odell, he grabbed the ball with like three fingers, whatever it was, and it was coming in, whatever. But Kyle Rudolph just kind of boop boop, and he's done it before too.
So fast.
It's not like uncharacteristic of Kyle Rudolph. It's like Beckham, that was kind of like before he had made any like super acrobatic catches.
Right.
And so
this is the problem with Kyle Rudolph, is that he's really good at catching the ball, but not good at blocking, which should be about, it's a 50-50, I'd say. Maybe even more. Blocking takes up 75%, because that is such a crucial part of the tight end position. But that's not something that he has really honed in on. But he's such a great athlete that he is able to stay. But that's why I love him. He's such a great athlete. So that's my favorite.
Well, I guess you took the one that I wanted, so I'll go with the more obvious one, which is Mr. Jefferson.
Oh yeah.
You
can't go wrong with that
how much I'm excited
dance.
to see him develop. I think he's going to be able to pick up right where Diggs left off. I believe that after this season he will match the production of Diggs,
or more.
Potentially get more. Diggs was good though. So
I think Diggs.
I think Justin Jefferson. I think so. Diggs was shifty. He was a good run after the catch kind of a guy.
Right.
I think Justin Jefferson's I think he's got a little more height than Diggs.
Yeah,
right?
he does. I believe
he'll be able to go over the top a little bit more of defenses and kind of pick the ball out of the air more than Diggs was.
Well, actually,
Diggs was kind of Diggs was like running, arms fully extended, grabbing the ball.
Right.
I think Jefferson's going to be more of like the back shoulder fade kind of a guy, which will be great for the red zone. Because I don't think Diggs was that. I think Diggs could get people with his shiftiness.
Yeah. Right off the bat, off the line.
Jefferson, right, exactly. Where I think Justin Jefferson's, it's going to be those like jump balls, kind of like.
Well, yeah, he showed those 50-50 balls catches, I mean, there's not a big height difference. I mean, it's 1 inch, but Justin Jefferson has that 1 inch on Stephon.
Yeah, 1 inch makes a difference.
So he's 6 foot. You perv.
Oh my
gosh. But yeah, so I think I would agree, and the dance to the end zone really was a good. That was kind of like a Stephon Diggs moment for me. That was like, I could see Stephon Diggs but he's kind of a new twist to his stuff. Yeah, it's Stephon Diggs 2.0.
Justin Jefferson obviously a little bit younger too, so he brings in kind of some of that like younger.
Well, he was
energy,
he was voted the best dancer on LSU football team.
That's I'd put that on my resume if I had it. But he's going to be like
the Vikings. Why should we draft you? Well, let me look at this.
Pretty good at dancing. Yeah. No, he's going to be good. All right.
Yeah.
Worst
favorite player. I think we might have had the same two guys. I don't know. I would, I'm just going to go with the easy one. Kirk Cousins.
That wasn't mine.
Oh, really?
Go
wasn't?
For it.
I mean, he did all right, I would say, in the first half. Then in the second half, it just didn't. I think we were doing all right in the first half, and then kind of just spiraled down after that.
Interception like right away.
Yeah, he threw an interception like in the first drive.
What should have been a pick six.
But he had the first those. What was it? Yeah, he run. I think it was a run, pass, then pass for that pick six. I think that's how it went for that drive. But yeah, there's so many throws. There's just so many throws that he should be making for this high caliber quarterback that we pay for. And I think we talked about this last week. We pay him to be able to make these plays, to be able to make these throws, but he doesn't. He can't. He's getting paid for a job he can't do, which is just, it's irritating, it's frustrating, and you want somebody better. Granted, I don't think you can blame it completely on the O-line either, because I think he was pressured a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
But you got some guys. You're putting Ezra, what's his last name, Cleveland up there, but I wouldn't blame too much. I mean, our run game's pretty good. And you can't always blame it necessarily on the O-line that we are doing well with. I mean, with Dalvin Cook having the best game of his career, because it's partially Dalvin Cook why he's gotten there, but it's also partially the O-line. So,
yeah,
I think it's somewhat Kirk Cousins that we have to kind of work out, and that's
the thing with Kirk Cousins is, after so long debating, okay, is he the guy? Is he not the guy? Can he make the big throws? Can he win in the spotlight?
Yeah.
If we're still having to ask those questions after 3 years, and we've seen him even before our 3 years with the Redskins having the same kind of struggles.
Mm-hmm.
If we're still having to ask that questions, I think it almost becomes rhetorical,
right?
Because it's obvious that he's not, because if he was, he would have answered those questions by now. We wouldn't have to ask him anymore. So I think I love the guy, and that's the hard part, and I think that's why he has a job, is he's such a good guy, and people want to see the best in him. And his best is really good, but he's not there all the time.
He's not. It's not consistent.
He can't do it consistently. So
it's either his. But the thing is, the best is pretty good, but his worst is pretty bad too. Yes. So the thing is, then, do you want somebody like that where you could get a pretty good game out of him sometimes, but then sometimes you just get a really, really bad game where you're very more likely to lose it if he's at his worst.
Yeah.
So then you got to get somebody whose best isn't necessarily at Kirk Cousins. I think you could find somebody who can get to Kirk Cousins' best, and then their worst isn't.
Sure, that they have a higher floor.
Right. So that's where I think, but
win game, because the problem with Cousins at his worst is he'll lose games for us.
Right.
Single-handedly.
And I think that's. I wouldn't. I would say it's kind of the single-handedly he lost us that game, because we could have gone down and scored, and then he threw that pick, and that's just, we had so much time. We had like a minute 30, and we had plenty of time to go down there and just kick a field goal. And
part of that was the botched snap.
Right, I wouldn't necessarily, but that was just one
crazy throw on 4th and 20 or whatever.
Right, there was some things like that. I would agree, but still, it's just frustrating to see that. And he's already thrown as many interceptions as he did last year right now. So big. Wow. That's a big crazy fact.
I didn't realize that.
I'm spitting facts.
That's some cool facts, man.
3 games.
I feel smarter already.
Out of the 16 games last year.
At this rate, how many interceptions will we have thrown up by the end of the year?
A lot. Facts.
No, it's 2 per game, right? So
I think he. I can't. Let me see. I think he's thrown, like, last game. He threw like what, 4, 3? No, he was 3.
There's 6 games.
2.
There are 3 games, and he's thrown 6 interceptions. How many interceptions per game?
Oh, well, if you put it, I was thinking of how many did he throw this year?
In each game, you were trying to figure that out.
But out of the 3, we have 2, and then there'd be 32. So it'd be 32. I was just thinking what. But anyways,
so my least favorite player. I'll keep this short, but Drew Samia, the guard. Not a big fan of him. So there was some excitement around him because I watched a draft profile video from him from last year about he talked about how nasty he is. It was like he wanted to seem like he was like mean and like I'm gonna outperform, I'm gonna outplay everyone and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And he just had like it's like one of those guys. It's like he just talks a lot. It's like on the playground, like you get that big chubby guy that's like, no, I'm really good. You pick me for your team. Pick me for your team. Like, all right. All right, Tommy. I guess
I have to pick you.
No, I'm really good.
Hey,
I'm way better than these other guys.
I'll take your word for it.
And then, all right, Tom, get on my team. And then he's just like doesn't even like. You try to feed him the ball, and he's
just bats it down to the ground.
Doesn't really know how to run properly. Yeah, that's what I picture when I view Drew.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the picture of him, let me pull up a picture of him.
Regan, we're on.
But if you
can look at a picture.
You can
just
pull
describe
up.
to me what are you seeing when you look at Drew?
Okay, let me describe to you. He's got he's like, this is the face he's wearing for his picture with the Minnesota Vikings. He's kind of got like a duck face, okay, a beard, and he's black hair all around, right? And thick eyebrows, some thick eyebrows, and his ears.
How thick? How thick? What
they
describe? What they would compare them to something?
Oh gosh, I would compare it. I guess I mean some good old caterpillars is what you could do, you know. But you know, this is what I'm thinking. I'm not gonna let me throw this out here, okay?
Okay.
This is just coming to mind right off the head.
Sure.
There's a guy from my hometown who plays for the North Dakota State Bison. He's I think a right or left guard.
Oh, wow.
Or tackle. I mean, not guard. And he is a top prospect right now for the NFL.
That's pretty cool.
His name's Nick Radens. And I think that's who the Vikings should pick up. Some Minnesota boys. And, you know, move him around, see what happens. But Drew Samia, whatever you want to call him, he looks like a guy that would be like, yeah, I'm tough. But then in the end, he's not. Like, if you look at a picture, he's just, like, not.
Yeah.
Not the guy you'd want.
He looks like the.
Yeah.
We can move on from.
Yeah, let's move on.
What's next on the agenda here, bud?
Well, we can look at next week's game if you want to.
Sure.
If you're really feeling it.
Well, I'll just tell you right now. I think we're gonna lose.
Ooh.
I think. Okay.
Well,
so
they're 0-3
as
us.
But Texans they're about Deshaun Watson, please. He's. Okay. Here's the thing about the Texans. They made some horrendous decisions in the offseason.
Okay.
The trade to I hope that they are really feeling the loss of Mr. DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah,
that was
such
a terrible deal. Okay, David Johnson at his best might be at the same level as I'm trying to think, maybe like an Austin Eckler. Right now, or
no, I wouldn't even put him at Austin Eckler's doing a really good job right now.
He's had a slow start to the season.
He had a slow start, but David Johnson, David Johnson had a good game his first game.
Maybe Kenyon Drake.
I would put compared it to
Yeah.
Kendrick. Yep.
I don't know. I haven't watched David Johnson enough. Maybe compare him to Adrian Peterson. I don't know. That might be a better comparison. But yeah, he's lost it, and I can't believe what a lopsided trade that was.
Yeah,
so I don't have very much respect for how Houston handled the offseason. But all things considered, they're still a better team. You've got a bona fide leader in a defense in J.J. Watt, who I believe is playing pretty well so far. I haven't maybe even looked at his numbers for this season, but with Deshaun Watson and they're going to beat us.
Yeah.
Texans. Trying to think of who else they have on.
They got Randall Cobbs.
That's right.
Ooh, yeah. Duke Johnson.
Deshaun. J.J. Watt had 2 sacks. Has 2 sacks already on the season.
Yeah.
2 versus Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that they're playing. The Houston Texans have played some really, really good teams. They started off with the Kansas City, who showed us last week that they're just fantastic. Then they went to Baltimore, Lamar Jackson, and that's kind of a hard, playing with him. And then they go to Pittsburgh and lose by a touchdown. Yep. Just some good teams just right off the bat.
So here's I'm actually, being that the Texans are 0-3, I'm actually less confident that we can beat them, or more confident that they can beat us, I should say, than if they were 3-0. Because I think our best chance to beat teams like this that are, maybe not Super Bowl contenders but fairly good is to catch them off guard. To have a really good performance when they kind of think that they've got one in the bag. Being that they're 0-3, they're going to be really motivated. And when
but the same thing for us.
Well, yeah, but again, that comes down to
the motivation.
We're not going to be because we don't have those leaders.
Right.
Texans do. They're going to try to jump out of this. I don't think the Vikings really. I just feel like our whole team is down in the dumps. I don't think we really know how to handle ourselves, and I think that's going to carry throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah.
We might get a win or two, but we're just going to have to deal with this. That this is going to be our fate.
Right, but you may be surprised. The ESPN's Football Power Index actually ranks the Vikings are going to win by 52.7%, which is interesting.
It's like
it's like a 50-50 though. I wouldn't even put it at 50-50 with Houston.
Yeah.
I mean it's hard to realize or even think that we would even come close to winning. I mean, this is me just thinking the worst case scenario though. That's the thing. Yeah. I don't think
it's in Houston. So we got to travel down there, right?
Well,
We're going to be lacking 2 practices. Let's factor that in, right? So we didn't practice Tuesday or Wednesday. Maybe get back to the facility tomorrow.
Right.
I don't think we're going to be ready.
This is what I think is going to happen. I think they're just going to throw it all over us. They've got Brandon Cooks, Will Fuller, Kenny Stills. They're just going to bomb it. So they're going to first start off, running the ball, buying the play action, okay? So then they're going to start with that play action. Okay, then they're going to start throwing the short balls, kind of getting us ready for that and playing up more. And then in the end, they're just going to bomb it to either Brandon Cooks. I mean, I think they're going to send it to Will Fuller, who's their bomber guy.
I think for at least 2 critical, maybe long third downs, we'll rush 4 or 5, maybe even blitz a guy off the edge.
Right.
And Deshaun Watson's going to break loose and run.
That's the other thing they got to worry about too. Is not necessarily the run, which every team we've played, the run has just worked against them every time.
Yeah, we don't have a very good run. I mean, this is by far the worst defense that Zimmer has ever
come across.
We just don't have. It's kind of odd how fast it's changed. Because remember, we were close to last in the league when Zimmer got here.
Right.
He flipped it around really quick, and now we're going right back down the gutter.
Going right back down.
But yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is the factors in this game. Obviously, Deshaun Watson. He's going to be Deshaun Watson is going to be a huge factor. But I also think Jordan Akins is going to be a big factor.
Tight end.
What was that?
Is he a tight end?
He's their tight end, and he's been doing pretty well for him. But I think that's going to be another factor because I think they're going to try to square him up with we'll see how well our new linebacker we got out of what's his name? Not Eric Wilson. Holton Hill. No, not. Who did we just pick up from the Bengals? Or he played for the Bengals at least.
George Ioka?
Yeah, it might be him. Yeah. And then he just came off the COVID testing. But I mean, I think those are just some of the factors that are really going to be the players that are going to be a big factor in this game for the Houston. For us to win this game, then I think what we really have to hone in is defense. We just got to find a rhythm and just figure out what guys just need to figure out defense. I think that's just going to be a big problem. Then on offense, I wouldn't say anything with the receiving core, running backs, fine. Kirk Cousins needs to just be able to make throws, and then the O-line, running is fine. I think our running is doing just great. I mean, you got Dalvin Cook.
Can we just get a new O-line?
Maybe
you just order one off Amazon.
I think they got something like that, or you could just just find some guy off the street.
Yeah, just
open trials.
Head over to like Taco Bell or
Hardway
Walmart.
Hanks.
Grab the Wendy's.
And one of those guys.
Grab the biggest guy you can find and be like, hey, we'll give you 5 cheeseburgers per game if you just stand there and just don't let anyone pass.
And you know what? I think you do a pretty good job at it.
Yep.
I think you'd be a pretty good job. So, let's move on there. We're going pretty
slow.
Pretty slow here.
All right, let's get through some other things.
So we're going to a next segment, and I'm calling it Vintage Vikes.
Well, it's not really gonna work for it to be a segment, right? Because
it's just a little fun, I guess, not a segment, but whatever.
This bit goes.
It's a bit.
This originates from. I said, Regan, we need to talk about how crazy, and this will really flow well with everything we've already been talking about. We need to talk about how great it must be to be not a Viking anymore for certain players.
For certain players, that's right.
Because we thought that we had squeezed all the talent out of certain individuals, and they're lighting it up.
They're still doing it
on the other end, and and it's kind of like a big old middle finger to the Vikings. It's
right.
Like, hey, screw you guys. I'm getting, and I think the Vikings need to take note of that and maybe look internally and figure out, hey, we're missing something here. It wasn't the players' fault after all. Yeah. So the most obvious one of all of these is Stephon Diggs.
Huge factor. Yep.
What he's doing in Buffalo is pretty spectacular. You think
they're 3-0 compared to,
and he's finally showing what he can do with a good quarterback and what a good quarterback can do with weapons. So I think him and Diggs are a match made in heaven, in a lot of ways because Josh Allen never really had that go-to guy. Diggs is that guy, and Josh Allen is killing it.
He is loving it.
So he's number one quarterback in all of fantasy.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen is.
Who would have thought? Yeah. But I mean, last year when we played him, you know what really pissed me off is when Josh Allen hurtled. What was it, over Anthony Barr?
No.
And that pissed me off so much, but it was just like, that's a quarterback.
They destroyed us that game. Remember that? That was the worst.
I hated it.
It was like, what the heck? See, so again, going back to what I was saying before about the Texans.
Vintage Vikes.
Is the only wins that I think we have a chance to get this year. We're like the Bills of that year, of 2018 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Where the only chance we were going to have to beat someone was if they came in too confident and cocky and just played down to our level, and we played up to their level, and that's where we beat them. That's where I think the Vikings have a chance to win, maybe this year. But I don't see on the schedule right now. I don't see that happening.
Right. Well,
so who's someone else?
I brought this guy out, Xavier Rhodesies, which actually Xavier Rhodes. He was voted for I think it was the AFC Defensive Player of the Week award.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Nominated or?
He wins the AFC.
He won it.
He won it for the Colts.
Did you watch his pick six?
I did not.
I didn't watch it either, but I heard he scored 6 points off of it.
What a bad boy. He is. He's 30 years old. I've always loved Xavier Rhodes.
Yeah.
Last year I think he just had a bad year.
So, I didn't like his attitude towards a lot of it because that was a hard thing. Is he started blaming it on other people, like it wasn't my assignment, blah blah blah. He's part of the reason I think that there's a big issue with our coaching staff and what Mike Zimmer's trying to do, and because one of the things Xavier said when he went to the Colts, he's like, yeah, I really like this scheme. It's much simpler.
Oh, is that what he said?
Yeah, he said that about the Colts' scheme. I don't remember I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but yeah, he kind of I think shines some light on part of the reason that our current scheme isn't working, and another thing that adds to that is Mike Zimmer doesn't really like to start cornerbacks right away. He likes to wait a season before he puts rookie cornerbacks
to understand his scheme,
because he needs them to learn his scheme, and it takes a couple years to do that. So I think we need to take a step back, right? And is that a good thing?
That's it.
Maybe if you can get it figured out, but I think we've got to realize that we're not dealing with.
You can't make a defense simple to have a quarterback. If you want to be an elite defense, you can't make it simple, but you can start off making it simple and then get into more of a complex. I think that's more of what you do. You get your fundamentals down, and then when you go into more of like the playoffs, that's where your scheme starts to become more complex and making different decisions. You can't just start off, because then you're just giving everything away, and that gives people more time to really, okay, now I know this. Excuse me.
So, a few other Vikings that we want to
emphasize.
I'm going to lump these three guys all together.
Oh.
We don't need to spend a lot of time talking about them because they're all running backs that are doing pretty darn well for themselves, who have made their way through Minnesota. Two of them draft picks, one of them a first-round draft pick. We're all very familiar with Mr. Peterson. The other one, a late-round draft pick, I believe he's a fifth-rounder. Jarek McKinnon, who's doing some nice things over in San Francisco, but can't seem to stay healthy.
That's
but when
boy.
He's healthy, guy is a starting caliber running back for sure. And Latavius Murray, you watched him against the Packers, and they just had a lot. I mean, obviously, Alvin Kamara steals the show. He's one of the best backs, if not the best backs in the league. His touchdown run was unbelievably good. But
Latavius?
No, the Alvin Kamara. Latavius, but is
that
still
wasn't
a good, like, he's doing
still
well.
a great
I'm amazed
change
that he left Minnesota. I felt like because he thought he was a starting caliber
running back.
But I think that was the same year the Saints. So he went to the Saints. Then the Saints drafted Kamara like that same year, and Latavius has been in the passenger seat ever since. But he's got a lot of talent, and I do hope he maybe gets a look at some kind of starting job at some point.
It was actually him, Ingram,
Mark Ingram,
and Mark Ingram, and it was a three.
Adrian Peterson was there at some point as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. For 1 year, and they signed him. That's crazy.
One more Viking, vintage Vike. Yeah. We got to throw in there.
He's kind of my favorite out of all these. I would say so. Everson Griffin. He's always been my favorite. One thing is because he's just a massive beast of a man. He's just, you look at this guy, he's just thick all around. I love a good thick man. And but then he looks pretty good in the Cowboy jersey. But he got a sack last week, so that was pretty good.
That's pretty nice. Yeah, he also, I think, is still he's very characteristic. I think the same everywhere he goes. So I think he's still doing like he's like got one or two like false starts every game where he jumps or offsides. I think is the right word for it. But here's another curveball one. Daniel Carlson.
Yeah, that's right. It was only 1 year we had him. I was thinking about that. We drafted him, and then we dropped him. Like after what week?
He missed how many kicks against the Packers and lost that game for us? We lost that game by one kick, I think, and he missed.
And like that's where we were like
chip shot kicks.
So
it's good for him. I never had anything against the kid. I think it's just this weird Minnesota environment that you get into where the pressure's just so high, especially in like, I don't know, like it's not the best environment for a kicker to be. God bless Dan Bailey for what the consistency he's been able to kind of establish.
Well,
here.
I think it's just mostly because he's a veteran.
Even though he missed one last week, but he'll get over that. Just because, like you said, he's a veteran. But yeah, we're not a good place for kickers to get their start. Blair Walsh had a good rookie season, and then once he started to go bad, he went really bad.
Right.
Kyer Vedvik looked good with the Ravens, and then never looked good with the Vikings. So that is what it is.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Now. So. Let's move on from there.
Let's. How many minutes are we at?
We're almost at an hour here.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
That's more than I think I've ever listened to anything in my life.
Usually, if you get a good podcast, you go. I mean, we're not. What's the Joe Rogan, who his podcast goes for like 2 hours long.
I feel like I'd like to feel like we were comparable to like a radio show where they go for like 3 hours at a time, like long. Paul Allen 9 to noon. But really, if you think about it, he's only talking and he's got
guests. That's what we should start getting on.
We gotta start. Oh, where's our commercial? Let's do a commercial break and then we'll come back for the second half of the show.
D.A.D.S is brought to you by Quality Bus and Truck. Buy your truck here now.
That's a great ad.
Welcome back. Wow.
That was.
We brought somebody in just for that ad, and
a professional, clearly.
If you guys were here, if you could see the video right now, it would be really cool
because they just came in with a suit and a tie.
Mm-hmm.
Very set, and is a businessman, clearly.
Business as usual.
Marketing professional, and
done this for a while.
Yeah, he knew what the people wanted to hear.
He knew what he wanted to say.
Buy those trucks,
but he just left really fast, though. That was the thing. That was kind of weird. He just.
Oh, I just got notice. They just hit $1 million in sales.
No way.
From that ad.
Holy crap.
We haven't even aired it yet. This is live. This isn't live. You have to record this and then post it.
Somebody is.
Did you buy
it's the government. They're listening. They're listening into this right now.
Must have been.
Or somebody hacked our system. Oh gosh.
Okay. Well, so welcome to the second half of our show. And for the second half, we'd like to wish you farewell.
And thank you for coming to the second half. And
I hope you like the second half better than the first half.
Short and sweet. So thanks for listening.
We'll talk some fantasy next week, maybe. Maybe we'll kick it off with that, so we don't miss it.
Yeah. All right. Have a good one, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
Later.